In 2023, my government made moves towards introducing assisted suicide. I consider it to be a bad thing, but I can see why some people would think that it's good. A tactical loss, but a strategic win. Because who are the people most likely to avail of assisted suicide? It'll be sick people, people who don't view suicide as a problem, people who have no intention of being here in the future. Therefore, while the atheists and liberals and feminists and homosexuals and hedonists are killing themselves prematurely, the people who are not like that will tend to dominate the future. Thus, it is a strategic victory and not something that we should oppose. It is possible that this is true over the course of many generations, but I am concerned about its effects in the next 2 or 3 generations, in other words, within the lifetime of one person. There are 2 reasons for this. The first I think is quite straightforward, and the second is reaching, but we'll start with the straightforward one. Suppose that there's something that government realizes that you need to operate in society, but it's too expensive for most people, or even just for some people. What do? Well, they subsidize it. For example, the government recognizes in Ireland that you need to be able to heat your home. What happens if that's too expensive? They give people a fuel allowance to offset the cost of fuel. Therefore, suppose that the government identifies vitamin D as something everybody needs, but for some reason vitamin D tablets are very, very expensive. Well, they'll make sure that everybody can get them. They'll be funded by taxpayers, or they'll use corporation tax, or they'll find some way of getting it into the hands of people, even if they could not afford it personally. Now imagine another vitamin D pill comes on the market, which is just as good as the expensive one, but it's much cheaper. What does the government do? The government is only interested in providing people with vitamin D. It does not matter to them if it's the expensive or the cheap pill. Therefore, insofar as they're going to help people to get one or the other, they will help people to get the cheap one. They will not prevent people from going for the more expensive one if that's what they want, but they're not going to help people get the expensive one if people can do just as well with the cheaper one. The issue that I have with assisted suicide is that it will become the cheap pill. For any number of long-term medical conditions or injuries or disabilities, there are any number of treatments. But assisted suicide will then be added to the menu. It will be one of the options you can pick, and legally and ethically it will be considered the equivalent of any of the other options, even though it kills you and the others don't. When the suicide comes on the menu, it will be seen as fulfilling the necessity for treatment, and it will be the cheaper option. Therefore, the government will have no obligation to provide support with any of the others. Everybody at some point in their life is going to be old or sick or both, but how many of those people are also going to be rich? And this is really the problem with assisted suicide. That most people will reach a point in their lives where they need treatment, and the only one they can afford, or the only one that is on offer, is suicide. And so it will be a convenient way of killing off loads of old people and sick people. I think that is a fairly straightforward reason to be wary of assisted suicide. But I can also move on to one which is reaching, but I think possible. And that is that assisted suicide could be used basically to kill off enemies of the state. So consider that if you're in a situation where you're sick and poor, the only thing you can do is die of the sickness or commit suicide. Either way, you're dead. We have seen for years that a government, or just a system, can make you poor if it so chooses. You say the wrong thing, you go to the wrong place, you're seen with the wrong people, and you've lost your job. Or they can send a mob, like Antifa or Black Lives Matter, around to your business and destroy it. Or there's any number of things they can do. The net result is that you can be made poor. Then it's only a matter of time before you get sick and poor at the same time, and then you're left with death or suicide. So if they don't like you, they have a pipeline to killing you. Apart from making people poor, we have also seen how the regime can make people sick. Just in the past few years, we can see how they made it quasi-mandatory to take a certain kind of medicine. And this medicine has made lots of people sick, and has even killed some of them. And if they could do that once, they could do that again. Therefore, the people who say that it's a good thing because all the right people will go for it are probably correct. The trouble is, it won't just be all the right people, it will be everybody else as well, unless they're very rich. And in this system, if you're very rich, then you're probably not one of the right people. So I'm not sure how good it will be, and I'm wary of it.